That's right. Today we are talking about exercises that you must avoid. And of course, we underline the word must, whereas in reality, you should probably be doing the exercise you enjoy the most because they're the ones you're going to smash. However, this went up on the Muscle Monsters YouTube channel. It's done a lot of views, almost 400,000. When I watched through it, I was like, man, I have a lot to say. So I'm gonna say it. Wonderfully too, this video is sponsored by FitTrack, the very, very smart scale that's gonna help you keep in shape. But obviously you need to make sure you keep yourself in shape. But the cool thing about it is that it is a smart scale, or a scale that you can link up to your phone via Bluetooth. And then, I mean, I'm such an old man, even the fact that it recorded my weight and then put it into my phone, I was like, this was great because now I don't have to write it down anymore and I can look back weeks and months in advance and go, oh man, I'm doing all right. It also tracks 17 health metrics that make up your body composition, including body mass index, body weight, body fat percentage, and muscle mass percentage. And it has a built-in friend, I suppose, known as Dara, that is going to keep giving you information about what you can do and what you can't do, and whether you're progressing in terms of where your fitness goals are. And the coolest thing about it is that you can track all of these stats within the app when you step on the scale, obviously, and just use that as a number to make sure it's headed in the right direction. So it's like when you're using a cardio machine, it flashes up saying, oh, you've done 600 calories. So you know if you want to burn more than 600 calories the next time, use that same machine, and even if it gets to 602, once again, bada bing, bada boom, you're heading in the right direction. And it's the same with this. All you have to do too is quite literally link it up to your phone and step up the thing, and it does all the magical thing that the scale should do. And after using it over the last couple of weeks or so, I certainly have found it beneficial. And right now, if you do click the link in the description, not only will you get some money off anyway, because they're doing a sale right now, if you use the code MillerReportRules, you will get an extra 25% off. So if you want to give it a whirl, now you can. And thank you very much to FitTrack for supporting the video.
Exercise number 1, lying leg curls. The lying leg curl isn't necessarily the worst exercise, but there are certainly better alternatives. Let's take a look at the seated leg curl as an example. Not only is it safer on the knee joints, but it produces better hamstring growth and elicits the same strength gains.
So we're talking about lying leg curls straight away, which got me because I very much enjoy lying leg curls. However, they do compare it to the seated leg curl. And yes, when you get into the studies, and again, you can find a study for everything, but there is a lot of information to support that actually working on a seated leg curl machine will hit your hamstrings more than a lying leg curl machine, and also there's less risk of injury because your knees do come into it a little bit when you're laying down. But look, I'm going to be saying this a lot. There's a lot of repetition in this video, so you'll have to forgive me. If you like doing lying leg curls, you should still be doing lying leg curls. When it comes to sort of dangerous or exercises that you shouldn't be doing, I would not put the lying leg curl in it at all. And when we go through all of these, some of them I am like, absolutely, you've smashed it. You know, have a cookie. You've done a great job here. But I think if we're getting into a world where you're telling people to go to the Fitness Palace of Love, aka the gym, and not do a lying leg curl, I just think you're making things harder for yourself. I don't think you're going to be enjoying the gym as much as you potentially could be. And that's one of the reasons I like to talk about these videos. Again, you can disagree with me in the comments below if they themselves see this. Absolutely, I understand where they're coming from. But I also think it's good to get the other side out there. And a lying leg curl, if you're doing it perfectly safely and you got the form down and you're not like racking it up on the weight stack and trying to be that guy, you're not ego lifting essentially, do the lying leg curl. It's a great isolation exercise for your hamstrings. And have you ever tried doing it where you just lay down on a bench and try and put a dumbbell in your feet and do it that way? I swear, it's impossible. If someone said, I'm going to kill you unless you do it successfully, I'm dead.
Exercise number 2, behind the neck presses and pull downs. While behind the neck presses and pull downs aren't as bad as we've been made to believe, the cons certainly outweigh the pros. You see, both movements force you to externally rotate the humerus in a loaded position. While this isn't necessarily wrong, being in this position under load places a great deal of stress on your shoulder joints and the smaller, more vulnerable rotator cuff muscles.
So I disagree with that massively. I think they are terrible. I think they're a dangerous exercise and you shouldn't do them. They just mentioned about the extra pressure it does put on your shoulders and sort of the upper part of your body. But put it like this, I tore my rotator cuff a long time ago. I always get this wrong. I told my subscapularis, most people tear their supraspinatus, and I did it because I was doing behind the neck presses. And after I rehabbed, had to have surgery and got back to the gym, I never went back to doing these for obvious reasons. And did I see any detriment? No. In fact, I probably saw more positives by doing in front of the neck presses presses and in front of the neck lat pull down. So you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to believe me. You can look at me and think, man, that guy couldn't even keep his hair. How can I trust anything that's coming out of his mouth? These are all great points. But I would never do this. Whether you're just starting in the gym, whether you're a moderate lifter, or whether you're an experienced lifter, I would just get rid of it. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think there's anything better. When it comes to a risk-reward scenario, this to me is jumping out of a plane without a parachute. It's like, okay, well, maybe I'll hit a tree and maybe I'm one of these people that somehow survives and I'll get headlines for years. But ultimately, what's more likely to happen is you're going to go squish and you're going to be absolutely flattened like a pancake. So totally agree with this one. I wouldn't do it. I think you can do a pull down to the front, towards your chest. It's the same with same with the neck press or shoulder press, whatever the hell we want to call it. You're going to see gains as long as you're pushing it, as long as your form is good, and as long as you're being intense. This to me would be number one. I cannot stand them.
Exercise number 3, rack pulls. The rack pull, particularly performed above the knee, is not a bad exercise, but rather an inefficient one. For starters, the above the knee rack pull is basically a partial deadlift, focusing only on the top of the movement. The reason some might perform rack pulls over deadlifts is simple. It removes the legs and spinal erectors from the movement, allowing you to place a ton of load on the traps.
So yeah, we're talking about rack pulls, and they've basically established it there. It is basically like a mini deadlift, and this is why a lot of people like to do them. One, they think it's a better way to avoid injury, because obviously there's less range of motion there. But two, if you are trying to build up your deadlift, doing a rack pull is going to help with that, because you don't have to go all the way down, you don't have to come all the way up again. It's just, I can only speak about this from my own personal experience, and I can't actually give you much information because I've always stayed away from them. I was such a big fan of doing deadlifts. I don't really do many deadlifts anymore because I'm a wrestler and I like to protect my knees and my body essentially and my joints. But they never appealed to me, and every single time I did do them, I was like, okay, I can lift a lot of weight because, again, the ROM is so small. But do I feel like I've actually done a workout? No. Wouldn't it be better to actually shift and do a couple of warm-up sets and 3 working sets on a deadlift, even if I'm not going into that crazy heavy range, which, again, I'm not a massive advocate for. I think you should be smarter with it. I just think you should do deadlifts over rack pulls. I mean, it never hampered me. I never felt any kind of, negative response from not doing them. Again, this video is called 10 things you mustn't do or whatever the hell it is. No, not at all. Try a rack pull. If you like pull, do a rack pull. So they're just not for me. And if you're not currently incorporating them, do I think you should know? And if you're thinking about getting rid of them, do I think you should probably follow through on that? Yes.
Exercise number 4, dumbbell flies. The deep stretch that makes this a great chest building exercise is the same stretch that landed this dumbbell chest fly on this list. While these may be fine in the beginning, the dumbbell chest fly gets more and more dangerous as you progress. Not only are you loading your shoulders in a vulnerable position, but once you're at the bottom of the movement, it can be hard to bail on the exercise without hurting yourself.
Now, I think it depends on how you're doing a dumbbell fly. I gave up doing them with quote-unquote free weights long ago for this very reason. When you do start to get really heavy, think about it. Think how gravity works. You're putting a tremendous amount of pressure on your shoulders, and while that's a great extra when you are doing your chest days, you are going to get some shoulder workout because they're all push exercises. Same with your triceps. You don't want to injure yourself on the ulterior muscle group that you're not even trying to work. It's why with every single PT I've ever been with, and from my own research, when it comes to any kind of fly movement, you're doing it on the cable machine, you're doing it on the actual hammer strength machine, or the machines that are in the gym, and they'll kind of take care of that gravity thing for you, because of course you can do it sitting up in an upwards position as opposed to laying down, because you can just go like this and like you're some kind of a clapping bear. So dumbbell flies are great. The fly exercise is great because, again, you're going to be hitting your side chest, and it's just a good overall mass builder for your chest. But I actually agree, I would dump it with the dumbbells because we have good alternatives. And I find many a time people are like, oh, well, I need to do, I need to tick all the boxes. You have to have options. So I've got to do it with the cables, and I've got to do it with the hammer strength machine and the normal machines. But I also have to do it with dumbbells as well. And I don't disagree with that. I think ultimately any good physique I've ever seen built has always come down to time under tension, range of motion, and intensity. So even if the only kind of fly moment you did do is on a cable crossover machine, as long as you're kind of trying to max out as much as you possibly can and leave the gym feeling like you've kicked your own ass, it probably means you have kicked your own ass. So yeah, scrap dumbbell flies as far as I'm concerned. Do your fly movements on other machines.
5, forward lunges. Forward lunges are a great unilateral exercise for the quads and glutes and are less punishing to your joints compared to conventional squats. But even then, they're not the best option for someone with existing knee issues.
So I think this one is going way off track. You should be doing lunges. Lunges are fantastic. It's one of the things that I always stayed away from, especially walking lunges, because they hurt me too much and I'm a massive baby and I'm a massive wuss. But this comes down to injury prevention or, making sure you're taking care of your body. I could tell you not to bench press if you've got some kind of dodgy shoulder. I could tell you not to do a lat pull down if you've got something bad going on. You know whether or not you can do lunges. And if you don't want to do them because you don't like them, you're being me. And look at me. Do you want to be me? Of course you're not. And actually, I do them now. Walking lunges, I tell you. Absolute game changer. But I don't think you can make a list like this and go 10 exercises you must never do. And one of them is where you may have a bad knee and therefore you shouldn't be doing walking lunges or forward lunges. Don't forget, when you get to a certain age, if you have accrued a bunch of injuries, you're going to have to manipulate your entire workout anyway. You're not going to be able to do every single exercise because, again, you're thinking about the future and you're thinking about prevention. So my worry about videos like this is people just see lunges. They go, oh, lunges are out the door. No, if you're able to do a lunge and you're able to get the most out of a lunge, do it because they're an incredible exercise and you're going to get some slabs on your legs.
6. Kipping pull-ups. A popular CrossFit movement, kipping pull-ups are a high-intensity, gymnastics-inspired exercise that involves swinging and using momentum to perform a pull-up. While no one can argue that this variation of the pull-up allows one to perform more repetitions in less time, the question becomes, are you achieving the purpose of the pull-up, which is to develop the back musculature?
I mean, boom, I agree with that totally. I've never done a kipping pull-up, but I know lots of people that go to CrossFit and they rave about them. But again, CrossFit is a different, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember now, but it's a different discipline to bodybuilding or weightlifting, and it depends what you're trying to achieve. If you're actually trying to see back definition or back growth or whatever you want to call it, you're trying to, progress your back, I think you just want to do basic chin-ups or basic pull-ups. That's the best way to do it. Again, keep it slow. Any kind of bodyweight exercise is great. I don't think people take advantage of dips, pull-ups, and push-ups enough. I think if you can really get those three things down, you actually build a pretty good base even before we introduce sort of weight stuff. But no, if you're trying to build a big back, there's no way you should be doing kipping pull-ups over pull-ups, in my humble opinion.
Exercise number 7, muscle ups. The muscle up is another momentum-based movement that involves performing a pull-up and then transitioning into a dip. While being able to perform this exercise is a great feat of strength, it really serves no purpose as it relates to building muscle.
Yeah, that's just kind of ego stuff. But again, if you can do it, absolutely smashing it. And if you're doing it in conjunction with doing a dip and with doing chin-ups and pull-ups, I haven't got a problem with it. Maybe I'm just jealous of you because I can't do it. I couldn't even get anywhere near to it. Even my pull-ups kind of suck. I'm rubbish.
Exercise number 8, dumbbell side bends. It's important to understand that some spinal flexion is not necessarily a bad thing. It's the dynamic, repetitive, and acute lateral flexion of the spine during exercises that can increase the risk of injury.
I don't get these. You see people doing this as an exercise, you see people doing this as a warm-down exercise, and you see people doing them as, I suppose, a strength or muscle-building exercise. What are you doing? If I said to you right now, do you want to put your spine and your sides under a great amount of pressure? You'd be like, no thanks, Simon, you absolute cretin. And yet, if you think you're able to do it, pain-free or injury-free, then go absolutely nuts. But I understand what it's working. I understand what it's doing. I don't think there's any help to the core. I mean, granted, I've never done them. I'm sure I've tried them in the past because, again, it's like monkey see, monkey do. If I see anybody else in the gym doing it, I feel like I have to give it a try. But I genuinely think it's crazy, and I don't think you need to do it. And I think, once again, it's just putting your body under undue stress, which you're already doing because you're going to the gym. This one's really weird. This genuinely, I think it's really weird.
Cheat curls. The idea behind the cheat curl is that the heavier you lift, the more growth stimulus to the biceps you would experience, leading to bigger gains. The problem is, if too much momentum is used, it becomes a whole body curl involving the hips and knees, causing you to lose tension where you actually want it.
I can't agree with this. Now, should cheat curls be your number one go-to when you're doing curls? No, of course it shouldn't. You should be doing nice, well-weighted, strict curls, focusing on your bicep. Don't be all wibbly-wobbly, make sure you lock those elbows, blah, blah, blah. However, you absolutely over those last few reps can cheat a bit. You can wiggle your arm, you can get that kind of momentum because let's say you're doing 8 to 12 reps. You get to that 12th rep and you really think, oh man, I've got that squeeze, I've got that contraction, everything feels good. If you then smash out a couple more, even though you're doing a bit of swinging, I think that's okay. And as always, just listen to your body. If it starts to hurt, don't do it. It's not worth injuring yourself. But I wouldn't put it in a list like this at all. Again, it shouldn't be on your priority list, but as an extra thing where you think, oh wow, I can smash out a couple more reps here, absolutely utilize cheat curls, especially doing something like hammer curls. I have, been given personal training plans in the past actually say do cheat hammer curls, where you kind of swing it up and swing it down, because if you do swing it up and you have a good control over it still, you can then fight the negative rep and they will kill your forearm, and obviously your bicep will come into play too. So no, don't agree with that one. I think it's incorrect.
Number 10. Barbell skull crushers. When performed correctly, barbell skull crushers are great for the triceps, which is why they're a staple in most lifters' training programs. My only real issue with this exercise is that despite how many tutorials are available, it's the most butchered exercise by far. This could also be the reason most people complain of elbow pain when performing it. Not only that, but there will come a point in your training where loading this exercise can further increase the risk of injury.
So once again, I agree with it. Now, I think you should be doing barbell skull crushers. I think they're tremendous. To me, they are the bench press, the deadlift, the squat of the tricep world. I think if you do get them right, holy crap, were you going to see, again, you'll just see such tremendous positive steps from it. But it's like they say, nobody gets it right. And do you want to know how I know this? Because I never used to get it right. Because they're called a skull crusher, everyone goes to the skull, as in the forearm, the front part of the skull. But again, don't forget the skull basically takes up your entire head. You want to be aiming for your bald spot. So, I'm not in the best position. I hope to have a video. But if it's up here, you want to go behind the head. So you're laying down and you want to go to that range, because that way, that's where you can get the proper form, right? Because you're pulling up with your triceps. But try and work it in. And look, if you're really struggling with them, just do the bar. Do it with an easy bar. An easy bar weighs, 5 kilograms? Most people are going to be able to handle that. And even if you can't, that's okay. You're brand new to the gym. You'll build up with it. But at least then you haven't got any excess weight on it. Or you can do it with a couple of dumbbells. Like you can even get a couple of 2-kilogram dumbbells. Who cares, right? You can get used to it like that. Do not throw out the barbell skull crusher, incorporate it, and just figure out a way to get the form right. And again, this guy did make a good point. Lots of people look at tutorials and they still don't know what they're doing. Ask someone in the gym. If they look like a nice chap or a nice person and you think you can have a friendly conversation with them, do it, because all lifting weights is about feeling it. But I think this exercise especially, when you start to feel it and you really get that contraction, you'll never lose it then, because you understand you need to tip your elbow back a little bit and it's not exactly what you think it is. You can actually stop far sooner than you realize. But I would not put it in a 10 do not do this list. I think they're so good. And ever since I've incorporated them, I feel like my old tricep is, what a stupid thing to say. I feel like it's coming on maybe more than it was. So that's an interesting list. I mean, a lot of them do have caveats next to them, which is going to speak to you as an individual. But aside from the ones that we have talked about, I think there's some good exercises in there. And always remember, you've got to be enjoying the fitness palace of love. If you're going and you're not having fun, why would you even have the impetus to continue? So keep that in your mind. You go to a theme park to have fun. You go to play tennis to have fun. You go to a movie to have fun. It's the same with the gym. It's meant to be fun. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Also, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. With the bell ding ding. So that the video is going live. There will be a video on the screen. Please do give it a click. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon. Just Simon, get 10% off. Today, what's today? Where is it? The 13th, 14th, the 17th of March. Gorilla Mind have just launched their own rope attachment for the gym, which is really cool. And if you order the watermelon bundle, which is Gorilla Mode and Gorilla Mode Nitric in watermelon flavor, they will send you it for free. So it means the next time you go to the gym, if you want to use a cable attachment and they're not free, you can bring your own one. And I got given one of these, and it's the coolest thing ever already. I'm enjoying it very muchly. Also, patreon.com/Simon316 if you want to support me that way. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. I have merchandise. All the links will be in the description below. Also on Cameo, personalized videos if you fancy those. But otherwise, just please engage with the video as much as possible. Thank you very much as always. See you soon.